Hello, people and non-people, however you identify. I'm Dave Rubin. This is the Rubin Report, direct message for March 3rd, 2021. And I'm actually in a spectacularly wonderful, fantastic mood because I saw real people last night and we are going to show you evidence of it. Yes, anything can happen here in crazy Los Angeles. Before I get to that real quick, just a reminder, guys, please subscribe to the YouTube channel. There's that little notification bell there. Click it. This week has been a particularly bizarre situation with YouTube. The suppression seems a little higher than usual. Some of our Jordan Peterson videos definitely are not seeing the numbers that they should be seeing because my inbox and every other way you guys communicate with me, they're all absolutely blowing up, and people are saying this is like the best interview I've ever done. It was just so great to have Jordan back, and just having Jordan return, you'd think that these things would be blowing up. There's something a little weird going on over there on YouTube, which, by the way, I don't know if you heard about this. That's why I started a tech company called locals.com, and you can join us and not be algorithmically manipulated at rubinreport.locals.com. All our stuff's there, ad-free, and all that good stuff. We're only doing 3 stories for you today because I want to focus mainly on the first one because it was just so great to see actual human beings. We're going to talk about the LA meetup that we did last night and just sort of the bringing together of political refugees and Los Angeles refugees, finding each other and hugging and touching. And everyone wants to touch me. They always want to touch me. They don't believe that I'm a real person. They want to touch, and they always ask to hug, and it was a whole situation. Then we're going to talk about President Joe Biden gave some COVID updates yesterday, and we may be doing this for another year, if not infinity and beyond. We'll find out about that. And then the big story, of course, of today is that New York Governor Andrew Cuomo just had a live press conference within the hour. I was actually outnumbered on Fox News for the full hour this morning, and they kept warning us in our ear, oh, we may have to cut you because Cuomo's about to give this press conference. So he just gave a press conference really addressing the sexual harassment allegations. There are now 3 women that say that he had sexually harassed them over the years, but also in part related to obviously his complete botching of the COVID response. And it's just so crazy. It's one of those things where for like 8 months, the media was treating this guy like a king. He wrote a book about management of COVID, how to manage a state in effect during a crisis. He wrote that book. Yeah, he wrote it. That's right. He got an Emmy in the midst of all this. Everyone was saying he's going to be Attorney General in the Biden administration. Well, the guy is crumbling and burning. We're going to show you some video from the press conference, and then I will analyze. But before we get to any of that, guys, last night we did a live meetup here in Los Angeles, and it was truly, we can show you a couple pictures, about 100 people showed up to a random bar in Los Angeles. I did this only for members of the locals community because obviously I'm not just going to tweet out my location because you're not going to believe this, guys. Not everybody loves me. There's a couple people out there, usually genderless anime Street Fighter avatars, who don't like me. So I can't just tweet out, oh, I'm going to be at this bar. So we did it at rubinreport.locals.com, posted where I was going to be. I posted it earlier in the morning because people came from all over California. People came from northern Cali, like 6-hour drive. People came from even more southern SoCal, all over the place. We had about 100 people at a bar. We drank, we ate, we laughed, we smiled, we talked. And it was truly like, I really can't even properly explain really how wonderful it was. It was, first off, really like the most fun. Like it was just fun, like seeing people. And all these people coming together, and you're not going to believe this, guys. It was crazy because you know I'm a radical freedom extremist, and for the people that watch this show, a lot of political radicals. There were white people and black people. There were men. There were women. There were gays. There were straights. There were all sorts of people. Not only were there all sorts of people, but there was a lesbian couple that was. I'm going to talk about the lesbian couple. There was a lesbian couple that was just doing some food shopping across the street, and they saw this huge crowd, and they came over, and they didn't know what all these people were doing there, but we met with the lesbians, and the lesbians had a good time, so we had everybody, okay? Everybody was there celebrating freedom. And it was just phenomenal. But here's, if you didn't see it already, I posted it this morning on Twitter. Here's just a little video, because what happened was somebody showed up. People, first off, there was an incredible girl who showed up. She baked muffins for everybody, and she had Dave Rubin for governor sign. And people were giving me bottles of wine and bottles of whiskey and all sorts of trinkets and all sorts of great stuff. But one woman who was there brought the recall Gavin Newsom paper, the thing that you're supposed to sign. And again, you can't do it digitally. They've made this extremely difficult, which is why it's so beautiful that there's almost 2 million signatures, because they made it really hard to do that. You had to do it in person during a lockdown when you're not supposed to go out. About 2 million signatures. We only need the 1.5, but it's great to just get more. So anyway, so this woman comes up to me. She says, Dave, if anyone here hasn't signed the recall yet, we got to get everybody to sign it. So we started asking around, and literally everybody at the bar had signed it. We finally found one guy who had not signed it. And here's a little video.
Hey, Gavin Newsom, Dave Rubin, I know you know me, man. Listen, we're doing an outdoor gathering here in Los Angeles. Got about 100 people here. We're eating, we're drinking, we're talking about stuff. And we got a nice lady who brought the Gavin Newsom recall, and pretty much everyone has signed it already. So, but we finally found a guy. This guy over here had not signed it yet. So use my back. Use my back. Signing the Gavin Newsom recall. Anyway, sending my best. Hope everything's good up in Sacramento, and look forward to seeing you at your retirement party at French Laundry. Right on, man.
That's right, guys. I am going to host the Gavin Newsom retirement party, because we've got to get rid of this guy. Right now in California, we are now the last state that still has gyms closed. We are the last state to have no indoor dining. It is completely ridiculous. When I drive down the main drag that I live off over here, it looks like a war zone. Things are still boarded up. Everything's closed. Office buildings completely empty. All the mom and pop stores completely closed, completely gone. It's absolutely ridiculous. This is a bad man, and he deserves to be recalled. And hopefully not only will he be recalled, but then we got to get a crop of people that are good enough to get in there. And will the crazy one-party lefties of California actually wake up and vote for somebody else? Vote for perhaps someone more centrist, or even, dare I say it, scary right-wing? A guy like Rick Grinnell? Do you think it might be possible? A guy like the scary Adam Carolla? I think anything's possible. In any event, we went out. The owner of the bar was thrilled that we were there. This is a guy that I met at a protest who owns many different bars and restaurants all in the SoCal area. He's had to lay off a ton of employees. He was so thankful that we were there, and it was just something else. It wasn't just having fun and like laughing with people and having drinks. It truly, like, every single person, and I tried to make sure that I had at least a minute or two with everybody that was there. And if you were there and I didn't get to say hi to you, I'm sorry, but I think I got everybody. I really tried to. It was more like there was this like unspoken, like, oh, this is the way life used to be. This is the way life is supposed to be. Like, think how messed up that is, that just people meeting at a bar for drinks and wings and burgers and assorted other foods, that would be a special and rare thing in 2021. And if you wanted to wear a mask there, you could. And if you didn't want to wear a mask, you didn't have to. And that's the way life's going to have to be going forward if we're going to have anything remotely close to a semblance of freedom. So it felt very special. I got to tell you, when I got home, and I did have a couple of drinks, I was a little drunk. But when I got home, like, when I put my head on the pillow, I was like, this was a great day. It was a great affirming day. And I just want to say one other thing for all of you that were there. It's like everyone thanks me. Oh, Dave, you're saying all the stuff that I believe, or you're helping wake people up, or you help woke me up, or whatever. But I truly, truly mean this, which is that you guys have given me as much, if not more, than I've given you. Because when I see people again, and then it helps me frame all of the stuff that I talk about. You know what I mean? Like, I think one of the reasons I've been able to stay sane in the last couple of years is first off, I don't even think I'm that special, and I don't think I'm better than any of you guys or anything like that. I am one of you guys. And when I was on tour with Jordan Peterson, I always loved going out into the crowds after and meeting people. Jordan did too. It was a little more difficult for him. because of just the schedule and the craziness and the level of fame was so insane and everything else. But doing meet and greets, and I'm going to do more of these. We're going to keep doing them in SoCal, but every place that I travel, I promise you, I will keep doing this for members of our locals community. And by the way, we're working on setting up a tour again. We're trying to figure it out. It ain't easy right now. Texas, by the way, just opened up fully yesterday. No masks. But guess what? You're not going to believe this. And this is the cool thing about freedom. If you want to wear a mask, you can wear a mask. Pretty great. But they are no longer going to impede businesses from moving forward. They're no longer going to stop people from living the way they want to live. But again, then you should take what precautions you think are necessary and get vaccinated if you want to get vaccinated and everything else. But yes, we are going to work on a little tour situation. I think we're going to start with probably 5 or 6 shows in about a 10-day span in Florida, probably in April. We're trying to put the pieces together on that right now, but I do like that Florida, and that's where we're going to start it. All right, guys, we got 2 more stories for you, but before I get to it, I want to talk to you about Smart Mail. You know, free email services like Gmail and Yahoo aren't really free. I've been talking about this for quite some time. You pay with your privacy. And since those companies have access to every email you send and receive, big tech can sell your data to the highest bidder. From business plans to medical records, companies can sell your personal data to target you with intrusive ads and open you up to identity theft and phishing attacks. That's why that's why StartMail wants to secure your email and make you feel safe again. StartMail keeps your email private, period. Every email is encrypted, even if the recipient doesn't use encryption, which means big tech can't read, scan, analyze, or sell your data or information ever. StartMail also prevents government agencies from spying on you, like in dragnet operations. With StartMail, deleted means deleted. When you delete an email, it's gone forever, and StartMail uses their own servers, not Amazon's, which means they can't nuke you and put you out of business just like they did to Parler. StartMail is also backed by the most stringent privacy laws in the world. You get unlimited anonymous aliases. This feature protects your main email address from spam and phishing attacks. So when you're giving your email to a company but want to protect your identity, StartMail can generate a shareable alias email so people can't sell your info. And they can be deleted anytime. Here at the Rubin Report, we've been looking for alternatives to Google, so we're excited to start using our own StartMail account. Michael's getting on it today. I don't trust big tech, and neither should you. Start securing your email privacy with StartMail. Sign up today and you'll get 50% off your first year. Go to startmail.com/Rubin. That's StartMail with a T, START, mail.com/Rubin for 50% off your first year. Startmail.com/Rubin. And now back to me. Okay, so on the heels of talking about people actually meeting other people, making choices for themselves, opening up businesses, living life, things that we used to take for granted that now seem precious and rare, as I said earlier. Well, President Joe Biden, although he's president and that's his title, but I'm pretty sure he's not in charge of the operation, he had some interesting info to say about COVID and sort of the future. Before I throw to this, by the way, it is now, I believe, the 87th day of, it can't be the 87th day of his presidency. Probably, what are we about? How many days are we in? We're about, 2.5? No, it could be about 87 days. Does that sound about right? February, no, we're whatever it is, about 50 days in. I'm trying to do the math in my head here. And he has not given a full press conference yet, meaning a press conference where he actually just stands in front of the media and answers unscripted, unrehearsed questions. He's occasionally given a speech and then he'll take 1 or 2 questions. This was one of those incidences. This is from MSNBC. This is Joe Biden on when America might return to normal.
I've been cautioned not to give an answer to that because we don't know for sure. But my hope is by this time next year, we're going to be back to normal, and before that, my hope. But again, it depends upon if people continue to be smart and understand that we still can have significant losses. There's a lot we have to do yet. So thank you.
My hope is by this time next year, we might return to normal. My hope is by this time next year, we might return to normal. Should I repeat that 20 times in a row? Guys, it's March. It's March of 2021. You may remember, and part of why it's so difficult to stay sane these days is they try to memory hole everything. You may remember all the way back to March of 2020. That was a year ago. And that's the month that they told us 2 weeks to flatten the curve. And now, a year later, we may return. My hope is by this time next year. That's what the President of the United States is telling us. Now, ironically, he's telling us that just as Texas, as I just said, is fully opening, Mississippi is fully opening. We know Florida, which has largely stayed open, although they do still have mask mandates, did not lock down, and the numbers are low there. The places that it's the worst are the places that have locked down, coupled with now what we know about the rates of suicide and depression and alcoholism and everything else. So why should we trust these people anymore? I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I'm not a crazy person. All I am is someone who wants to go about living my life and wants other people to go about living their lives as they see fit. And unfortunately, what has happened here, in essence, is that the system has tested us. The system over the last year, whatever you want to call that system, however you want to define that thing, has tested us. And it pushed us, and it manipulated us, and it basically said to us, what can we get away with? Could we lock people in their homes for a year and destroy their businesses and make them more dependent on all of us? And will they push back? Will they do anything? And in most cases, we did absolutely nothing. And the system saw that. And then even this morning, I saw an article about how the next thing we'll need are climate lockdowns, right? Because there literally was a story this morning, I think maybe it was in Business Times, I'm not sure, about how CO2 emissions, because everything was much more quiet in this past year and we weren't in cars as much and all that, that went down. So maybe every 2 years we should have these intermittent lockdowns. The system tested us and it saw that we don't fight back. And that's why we need to start fighting back. And we need to start living our lives as we all see fit. It's like I can repeat myself into ad nauseum here. But that is the only way this is going to move forward, is that we are going to have to do it. We, the people. We can't just expect that Gavin Newsom is going to suddenly get it right. You can't just expect that Andrew Cuomo is going to suddenly get it right. And you can't just expect that Joe Biden is going to do it right. These people in some way with power, they get off on the fact that we've given them so much power and they just want more and more. Like, do you think Joe Biden, first off, that he even knows what's going on or even is in charge at this point is just sort of ridiculous. But do you think actually he really cares? He pretends, I'm Joe Biden from Scranton, Pennsylvania, and I really care about the average people and I'm from Delaware. And it's like, no, you don't. Because if you cared about the average person, you would let them live their life, which is that's all people want at this point. And I'm going to keep fighting for that. And I was thrilled that so many people had signed that Gavin Newsom recall. Maybe we've got to get a presidential recall going. Have we ever had one of those? I don't think so, but maybe we need that. Because if you're telling me that maybe, we can sort of get back to something next year, what? Joe, I thought you ran on that you were going to solve this thing, that Trump was a buffoon and didn't do anything, even though Operation Warp Speed got us the vaccines faster than could have humanly been imagined. And when Trump was talking about vaccines back in what was it, probably May, maybe even earlier than that, April, everyone said it will never be done this year. And then, of course, it did get done this year. They're giving me some info right now, some breaking information. The U.S. Constitution does not allow for the recall of a president outside of the impeachment process. I guess that makes sense. There's an impeachment process, meaning that the three branches of government have to work their system. It's not that we can just leave it up to a recall. And in many ways, although I was slightly kidding when I said it, that we would actually have a recall, like the chaos that would cause at a presidential level would be so nuts. So although I was slightly kidding, it's like it would be better that things be left to the branches and the checks and balances and all that. And it's not like, you guys know this. It's not like we would have sham impeachments. It's not like we would impeach a president for like a fake Russia thing and spend a year focused on that. And then could you imagine, it wouldn't be like a bunch of people after they failed with that one would then impeach a guy who wasn't even president anymore. It's not like something like that would happen. So that would just be nuts. So, I think we're going to be okay. Moving on from one inept leader to another, the main story of the day is that Andrew Cuomo, who is the governor of my home state, New York, whose father, Mario Cuomo, was a pretty great governor, Democrat, centrist. He is in a lot of hot water right now. There's two things happening. So the big thing in my estimation, the thing that is more legit, and needs to really be dealt with is the COVID stuff, right? We know that he sent elderly people back into nursing homes, and that is where COVID spread, and that's where a lot of people died. That's on him. By the way, this is not debated by anybody. I mean, Google this. Everyone knows this. Now, he also, quote, wrote a book about leadership during a pandemic in the midst of all this. He also got an Emmy. A lot of celebrities really love this guy. He comes off as basically just like this mafioso who's accountable to nobody, and I think you're going to see a little bit of that in this clip we're going to show you in just a sec. But that, to me, the way he has dealt with COVID and the way he has destroyed his state, and that New York City is basically a ghost town. Now, I get it. He's not the mayor of New York City, and they have the completely inept, borderline evil, I would say, Bill de Blasio. And New York has a reckoning coming, and Andrew Yang is running for mayor of New York City, and hopefully maybe that'll work to fix this thing. Who the hell knows? But New York, much like California, has been largely destroyed thanks to Andrew Cuomo, okay? So that, to me, the COVID stuff, the lockdowns, that's the real issue. Now there's this issue that 3 women have come forward and said that he sexually harassed them over the last couple of years. Now, I'm not diminishing those accusations. And let's remember, of course, that over the last few years, we've been told to believe all women, right? When Brett Kavanaugh was being confirmed as Supreme Court Justice, we were told believe all women and Me Too and all that. Then when allegations come out against Democrats, then it's like, don't really believe all women. I mean, kind of believe the women that we sort of think are believable when it goes for the guy that we kind of like, and you see how this game is played. But in any event, the lefties are the ones that have said believe all women. Now, one of their guys, one of the progressive heroes, is being accused of sexual harassment. So he has these 2 scandals basically breaking at once. There's also some people in the House, the New York State Senate, that are thinking about impeaching him. So he's got like a whole bunch of stuff. Anyway, he gave a press conference this morning, and well, you listen to it for yourself and you tell me if this is a man that sounds contrite and honest and is going to fix the mess that he got himself into.
Uncomfortable, felt hurt, felt pain from the interactions. And I'm embarrassed by it, and I feel bad from it. I'm not in this business to make people feel uncomfortable. I'm here to help them. That's the essence of what I do. I do not believe I have ever done anything in my public career that I am ashamed of. I didn't know I was making her uncomfortable at the time. I feel badly that I did. And I'm going to learn from it. Marcia asked me about, my usual custom is to kiss and to hug and make that gesture.
So I just want to be very clear about something. Obviously, I don't like Andrew Cuomo politically, right? Like, you get it. I don't think this is a good governor. I don't think that his governing philosophy is anything close to a governing philosophy that would make sense in a world that was right. I am not saying he's guilty of anything. If he patted a girl on the back, or there's this video where he asked, I guess, what I think was a reporter to swallow a whole sausage whole. I mean, there's some stuff that he did. Is any of that stuff beyond the pale? Is any of that stuff anything other than joking around, or that he might be touchy-feely? And he's Italian, obviously, and Italians often talk with their hands and are very verbose and all of that stuff, and might be a little more affectionate and all those things. So I'm actually making no commentary on what he did or did not do, okay? And my guess is, no one's accusing him of rape, right? No one's accusing him of exposing himself or anything of that level. But the monster that you guys created, the monster that we must believe all women, that we must destroy people who politically we disagree with, well, you fed the monster, and then the monster looked around, there was no more food, and then the monster started looking at you and licking its chops. So whatever happens to him related to this, it's his own doing. But I want to be clear, I'm not saying that he actually did necessarily do anything. There's a couple things, actually. My guys are giving me the 3 things. Apparently an ex-aide said that Cuomo asked her about her sex life. Okay, that's probably not appropriate if that's true. And again, it's if it's true. Just because someone makes an accusation, this is another one of the issues that we have right now. Just because you're accused of something doesn't mean you're guilty of something. But okay, an ex-aide says that he asked her about her sex life. That's number one. Number two is another former aide said that the governor kissed her on her lips. Okay, if he did do that, that does seem like you can't kiss your subordinates on their lips. Okay, you can't do that. Sorry guys, I can't do that around here. Okay, that's not good. You can't do that. And a third woman recounted an unwanted advance from the governor at a wedding. I think that's the sausage one, right? And I think there is video of that where he's like telling a woman to swallow a sausage whole, okay, which is a party trick. I'm not necessarily saying that, it can make you popular in certain circles. I'm not saying it, I'm not saying it's good or bad or anything else. Those are the accusations. And then I guess for society, it's up to all of us to grapple with those things. And if his own base will turn on him, his own base that has said, believe all women, the patriarchy is evil, he's also white, that doesn't help. So they're gonna have to decide on that. But again, to me, that is the sideshow. If the reckoning is to come for this guy, the reckoning should come related to COVID, related that they did not follow the science, that there is no evidence that lockdowns work, period. Although you're not gonna believe this, here in California, Gavin Newsom's been tweeting up a storm. In the last 6 weeks, guys, the numbers keep plummeting. 6 weeks, plummeting. Is there something, somebody remind me, one of you guys, what happened about 6 weeks ago? Was there something that happened about oh, right, Joe Biden became president, right, that was the thing. I knew there was something that happened 6 weeks ago. So you get the point of all of this, guys. So anyway, so he has to deal with that. So there's two scandals here, we'll see what happens. But what I will end on is this, which is, if we are to recall Gavin Newsom, and it's going to happen one way or another, and then hopefully we actually get rid of him. So it's not just about the recall, you got to actually vote in somebody else. But if that happens, and if the pressure becomes too much for Cuomo and he actually steps down, well then maybe all of the lunacy that we're seeing right now, all of the overbearing politicians who think they can manage all of your lives while they can't even manage their own, and don't even live up to their own rules and regulations and all that stuff, well maybe the dominoes will start falling. And maybe that will be the thing that get us to the Great Reset. Not the Great Reset they want, the Great Reset that we want, which is actually that there will be more liberty, there will be more freedom, there will be more of an ability for you as an individual to live the life that you see fit. That's what I'm hoping for, and that's what I'm praying for, and that's what I'm gonna keep pushing for. Guys, if you have not watched it already, my 2-hour interview with Jordan Peterson is up right here on the YouTube, and of course it's available ad-free at rubinreport.locals.com, and we've got a whole bunch of stuff, big stuff actually, happening with Locals that we'll be able to announce in the next couple weeks. Thanks for watching, have a great day, and I'll see you tomorrow.